Jessica, I want to thank you so much for joining me today. I know you're a very busy lady, so I appreciate you being here.
No problem.
Well, I just wanted to start with perhaps the biggest sports story, really biggest story in general this year was the Bills' Damar Hamlin collapsing on the field during play. As the head trainer, what was going through your mind when you saw that?
Well, I think actually we were in pregame here at Moda getting ready for a game, and I think that incident happened. And when it first happened, I think everyone kind of stopped and watched, and we were still trying to be in our pregame mode, but it drew the attention of everyone in the building, the athletes. And so your first thought is hopefully he's okay and that the proper medical response happens. And clearly we saw that he had excellent care and they were able to get him off the field and to the hospital where he could get additional care. But at the time, I think as an athletic trainer or physical therapist, it starts going through your head, like what happened, what was it? Usually it's a much less severe situation because you're thinking, was it his knee, was it his ankle? And when you see impact to his chest like that, your mind doesn't want to go to, hopefully everything is okay with his heart, his breathing, but really, at that time, there wasn't much else to think about. And so we eventually turned it off so that all the athletes could focus and just hope for the best for him. But people were still worried about it through the game, trying to get updates on if he was okay. I think it's a testament to everyone here, how wonderful they are and care about the athletes as humans first, more than the actual game. So.
Well, then a few days after, when he had recovered, he gave all the thanks to his assistant trainer. So I just wanted to ask you, in a situation that could unfold like that here at Moda or when we're on the road, how do you make sure you're prepared?
We do quite a few things to stay prepared. I know a lot of people have perceptions of what an athletic trainer does. In the football world for a long time, they were thought to have these khaki pants on and provide water to people. And you never want to see an incident like this happen to show your value or your worth. But I think it was eye-opening for people to realize the ability to have emergency response on field, that people that are around you every day that are trained to be prepared if this were to ever happen, and hopefully it never happens. But all athletic trainers go through specific training through school, and then usually within your organization or your community, wherever you're working, there's regular training regarding how you would handle this situation. And so we do yearly, sometimes twice a year checkups on how we would handle an emergency situation. We do it in Moda here at the arena and then also at our practice facility. And every NBA team has an emergency action plan for where they practice and where their games are. And we have paramedics on site for every game in every arena across the country. And most of the time before every game, we either check in with the athletic trainer from the other team, or we touch base with the paramedics ourselves. So we have an understanding of where they're located in the building. And there's some sign language that we have where if we were ever to go onto the court, what we do to get their attention to have them come on the court and the items that they might need to bring with them. So it's a constant mental checklist every game, just before a game, to say, okay, this is where the paramedics are, this is where this person's going to go if we need to get them off the court. There's other people that within our health and performance department that may not be assigned to directly go to the athlete, but they have other responsibilities of clearing the way, helping create space, providing us a route for the athlete to get off the court, whatever the situation may be.
So obviously you are helping the athletes. Well, let's just say someone is here at an event, whether it's a Blazers game, a concert, something, and someone they're with or they see maybe collapses as well. Like, what would you say to them for advice as how they should react?
So if you're in a really crowded space, such as Moda, the good thing about being in a facility like this is not only are there paramedics here for the athletes, but there are paramedics on the concourse for any fan that is in the building. And so really, though, the most important thing that you can ever do is early CPR, early defibrillation. And so if you see someone that looks like they may be having a cardiac event, the most important thing to do would be to call 911, or to send someone to call 911. You don't want to leave someone. So hopefully you're in a situation where you can say call 911 or go get someone to call 911, and then you would attend to that person. Now there are a lot of different levels of different CPR courses that you can take. There's even courses where you can take a class online. CPR started early is the most effective way to save someone's life. And so that is just basic chest compressions. And there are courses that you can take to just at least learn how to do that in that situation and to see what signs you should be looking for to see if that is what the person needs if someone goes down. And so the more people in an environment that are CPR certified or have experience or understanding of CPR, the better chances there are to be able to help the person that's down quickly.
So learning how to do CPR, it's like A. Also knowing how to use an AED. I think a lot of people know where the AEDs are in certain buildings, but if it came down to it, they wouldn't know how to use them. So what advice would you give them?
So part of CPR is learning how to use an AED machine. And the great thing about AED machines are it tells you what to do. You turn it on and it tells you what to do. But that is all part of the training that you would go through if you take a CPR class. But what is important to do is to kind of take a mental note of where you see AEDs. So you can walk the concourse here and you might see one on the wall. You can be at the airport and you'll see them on the walls. They're in the airplanes. We travel our own with us on our airplane everywhere we go, in addition to one being on the airplane provided by the airline. But it's just something that you can kind of make a habit to make note of. Sometimes you can walk into a restaurant and see an AED, and just a little mental note of that's good to know that that's where that is, because the CPR and the early defibrillation is the best chance of someone being able to survive any cardiac event.
And I know you took some heart notes for the superior athletes and the everyday, people like me walking around. What advice would you give to people?
Well, I think it's always good to have an understanding of what increases your risk for an incident with your heart. And as you can imagine, similar to other diseases, there are factors you can control and there's factors you can't control. Factors that you can't control would be your family history, your age, your gender. But there are a lot of factors such as smoking, high blood pressure, cholesterol, controlled diabetes, and being overweight that you have the ability to take control of if that's something that you are motivated to do. And so there are a lot of really good resources. The American Heart Association puts out a cardiovascular risk calculator, and you can literally go online and it will ask you some questions and produce a level of risk you may or may not have to have a cardiovascular event. And I think it's really important to be, educated on what those things are. But whether we're talking about a heart disease or really any malady, a lot of it comes back to movement and exercise. And one of the most important things you can do is exercise. So the American Heart Association recommends you exercise 150 minutes a week at a moderate level. So you can go for a 30-minute walk and you do that. And when you start to do that, you see some of those other risk factors start to go down. Maybe it's high blood pressure, maybe it's you're diabetic and you have you're learning how to manage your sugar levels, cholesterol. So those are all really important things that you can consider. But that being said, I don't want to say go from doing nothing to going and run a marathon. Right. You have to be aware of a proper progression to get there. There's lots of really good couch to 5K programs you can find online. You can walk them. You don't have to do anything crazy, and just keep in mind and pay attention to how your body is feeling through these. If you're ever exercising and you have chest pain or chest tightness, you will want to reach out to your physician. But exercise is a great place to start, just to get your body moving.
Movement, I love it. Jess, thank you so very much, and I heart your heart.
Thank you.